So welcome back to campus.
Thank you. I love coming back.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about just stepping on campus?
I don't know, it just makes me remember all the fun I had here and the good education that gave me a good teaching career, which was wonderful for husband and wife to both be teachers, and it was good. We had 2 daughters and we always had the same vacations they did, and so we could take vacations in the summer together. And
Oh, nice. Yes. So tell me, when you came to Black Hills State, tell me what year you graduated.
I graduated in '58.
Okay. And then, so let's talk about this grade here. So you had just showed us a book, kind of a little marketing book, talking about your first year at Black Hills State. And then tell me about the photo that was taken in front of the grade.
They decided, now this is what I understand, and it may not be exactly accurate, but they were going to give this little booklet to all the incoming freshmen to kind of introduce them to the college and the activities that went on here.
Cool. And so they situated you guys in front of this. And it was you and what was the gentleman?
Don Clifford was the young man.
And did you know him very well?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I think it was taken the summer before I started here, because I was the secretary for the dean of the college, and I was on campus anyway, and he may have been going to summer school. I'm not real sure.
Okay.
But anyway, they chose us for the models for this little pamphlet.
Awesome. I can see why.
Oh, thank you. You're kind.
No, so tell me about what dorm you lived in.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I'm
Okay.
from Spearfish.
Okay.
So I lived at home,
Okay.
and my house is straight up University Avenue, way up the top of the hill.
Yeah. Now, is it still in the family or does someone
No,
else own
we
it now?
sold it,
Okay.
but the house is still there.
Yeah. And also on campus, do you remember a professor who was especially influential to you?
Oh,
Your
I
favorite
remember
professor?
a lot. Dr. Teason was the dean, and he was a wonderful man, wonderful to work for. Cecil Haight was one of my favorites, and Dr. Jewett was, I felt maybe I learned the most from him.
What did he teach? You
He
remember?
taught social sciences of some kind.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the class.
Yeah. And so I understand you were also Swarm Days Queen?
Yes,
is that right?
I was.
Okay. So that was your senior year?
My senior year,
Okay.
yes.
And was it voted on? What was the process?
It was voted on by, well, the Letterman's Club picked 3 girls from the senior class, and then the whole school voted on the 3.
Wow. Cool. So then do you remember the moment when they told you you were the queen?
Yes, they
Yeah.
called me on the telephone.
Yeah.
To
Do you
tell
remember who
me.
called you?
I think it was Bob Tanner,
Okay.
and he was on the football team.
Oh, fun. And you got to ride in the parade. What else do you remember about that Swarm Days?
Well, the coronation was the night before, and they had that in the gymnasium. And Don Young's son, one of his sons, and I think he has a son, Jay, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he was the one that carried the pillow up that had the crown on it. So every time we see Mrs. Young now, she reminds me about that.
Oh, sweet. That's cool. Tell me about, did you have any other memories from Black Hills State that you can share? Just something that walking on campus you remember?
Oh, there's so many. I met Bob, my husband, just before school started, and then we dated all 4 years of college. He's a year older, and he's from Lead originally. So he went off to teach in Winter, South Dakota. And then I stayed and finished up my senior year. And then right after I graduated, we got married.
Okay, cool. And then tell me about your travels out to California, where you are now.
We taught 1 year in Winter,
Okay.
South Dakota. I don't know if you know where that is.
I do.
And the wind blew and it was cold, and Bob said, oh, there's gotta be a warmer place than this to live. And his parents were in California.
Okay.
So we went out there pulling everything that we owned in a one-wheel trailer. And just as we were getting close to San Diego, that tire went flat. But we just kept going. We didn't want to have to unload and load again.
Oh. So what town did you land in?
La Mesa,
La Mesa.
California.
Is that where you still live?
No,
Okay.
we live about 30 miles from there, up in the foothills, in a small town called Ramona.
Okay, beautiful. How many years did you teach?
I taught a total of 38.
Okay, wow. And what subjects in what grade levels?
Well, at Winter, I taught high school subjects.
Okay.
And I was the only teacher in the school that had 4 preparations. Everyone else either had 2 or 3. But you know, being the new one in the school, they give that person the classes that nobody else wants to teach. The ones that have all the troublemakers.
Oh no.
And I didn't feel much older than my students. And I swore at one time that I would never cry in the classroom. And I didn't. But I would go home and cry.
Oh no. And so then in California, did you teach high school too?
No.
Okay.
My credential wasn't good in California.
Okay.
I had to go back and take some elementary courses. And I went to the district office in Poway, California, which is just out of San Diego. And the only person I had to interview with at that time was the superintendent. And I told him I had been a high school teacher, but my credential wasn't any good for teaching high school in California. So he said, well, you look like a kindergarten teacher. I'm going to hire you to teach kindergarten.
That was quite a switch.
It was, from seniors in high school to kindergartners.
Wow. Wow. Did you enjoy it though?
I
Once you got in the
did.
classroom?
I liked the little ones.
And they didn't make you cry when you went home?
No.
Good.
Oh, no. I had so many good stories, and they made me laugh, and it was a good switch.
Good. And then how long did Bob teach?
Bob taught 40 years.
Okay. Wow. And you had your 2 daughters in California?
Right.
Okay. So how often do you get back to campus?
Oh, we come back quite often.
Yeah.
We come back for all of our reunions.
Okay.
And since my 20th, I think that's the first time we came back. And Bob had relatives here at that time. His grandparents lived in Belfouche, and my parents lived in Spearfish. So we would come back with our daughters, and we always visited the college. And my dad was a custodian at the college.
Cool.
And it's just feels like home to me. I love the Black Hills, I love Spearfish, and I love BH.
Awesome. We do too. Was your dad a custodian while you were at school?
Yes, he was.
Would you see him in the halls? And that
I
kind of
would,
thing?
and it was nice seeing him during the day.
Yeah. How do you feel your education at Black Hills State prepared you for, winter,
Well,
high school, kindergarten in California, younger
I
ages?
didn't take any classes for elementary education. That's why I had to go back and take classes when we got to California. And being the new teacher at Winter, they gave me the subjects that nobody else wanted. And one of those was commercial law, which I was not prepared for. So it was a lot of work, 4 preparations for every day. So in that respect, I don't blame the college for not teaching me commercial law. That's just not a very ordinary subject, you know, to be teaching in high school, I didn't think. So, but otherwise, I felt prepared. I thought BH did a wonderful job.
Good. Good.
The professors were all so nice and knowledgeable and presented their material in a very good manner. And I know for sure that I'm a visual learner, so I could hear in class what the professor was saying, but unless I took a lot of notes, that's the only thing that got me through school, because I would forget what they had said, but if I could see it in writing, then I was okay. So I knew then that I was a visual learner.
I'm sure you help your students on that, the students who have that same tendency too.
Yes.
Just a couple more questions about the grade. So, do you remember where it was physically on campus when that picture was taken?
I think it was in Janice Hall, which was the men's dormitory at that time.
Yeah.
And I know it was Pangburn Hall, but I think it was something else in between Janice Hall and Pangburn Hall, but I'm not sure. Because
do you remember how you got picked for that picture?
Not really.
Okay.
I was secretary to the dean, and I don't know if it was just because I happened to be on campus, you know, at that time when there weren't a lot of people around, or I just don't remember. They just said one day, we'd like to have you pose for this little pamphlet we're putting together to introduce the freshmen to Black Hills.
Cool. And then tell me about walking through the Joy Center here, and then you just happened to see that photo blown up on the wall. Tell me about that.
We walked through around that way, and then we came to that door, and I stepped inside, and I said, "Oh, my golly, that's me!" I couldn't believe it.